Do not mount on this sea monster. If they have them, let the seamen bring us food and other things that we need. And you may stay here till the Witch King goes home, for in summer his power wanes, but now his breath is deadly, and his cold arm is long. Welcome to Tales of Arda, where we discuss and explore Middle-earth. Today's video is on one of the Númenórean kingdoms in exile and how it fell into ruin. Before the arrival of the faithful Númenóreans, the land that would once become Arnor was populated by the dying descendants of the House of Beor, middlemen and elves. During the downfall of Númenor, Elendil and his followers escaped in 7 ships and came to Middle-earth. Elendil established Arnor, while his sons established Gondor. Elendil was the High King of both realms, and his sons, Isildur and Anarion, were the direct rulers of Gondor. The faithful brought with them 7 palantiri. 4 went to Gondor, whilst Elendil placed one in Númenor, 1 at the watchtower of Amansul, and 1 in Elostirion, in the Tower Hills. Elendil established the city of Númenor besides Lake Nunuiel to be his capital. Near the end of the Second Age, Arnor allied itself with Gilgalad, Oropher of Greenwood, Amdir of Lothlorien, and the dwarfs of Khazad-dûm in alliance opposing Sauron. The last alliance of men and elves marched south and were joined by Anarion and the forces of Gondor. This war spanned many years and claimed many lives, including Anarion, Isildur's youngest son. The Free Peoples even pushed Sauron into a siege. At last, Sauron himself emerged from his dark tower and single-handedly pushed the Free Peoples back. Elendil and Gilgalad were slain during their combat with Sauron. Isildur cut the One Ring from Sauron's fallen body and claimed it. Elrond, Gilgalad's herald, urged Isildur to destroy it, but Isildur refused. During the war, Arnor suffered many casualties and was heavily depopulated. Isildur was killed in the disaster of the Gladdenfields shortly after crowning Anarion's son Reneldo as the ruler of Gondor. Valandil, Isildur's youngest son, became king of Arnor. Isildur's descendants didn't claim the throne of Gondor, so the 2 kingdoms were split. By 861 of the Third Age, the capital had been moved from Númenor to the more defensible Fornost. The population of Númenor began to dwindle over time. When King Eärnur died, his oldest son Amleth split the kingdom into 3 to prevent civil war with his brothers. Amleth ruled Arthedain, and his unnamed brothers ruled Cartalin and Rudar. Arthedain's capital remained as Fornost, and it was the real Arnor due to Amleth's rightful kinship. Cartalin was always more friendly with Arthedain than Rudar. Cartalin's capital was Farbad on the river Guaflo. Rudar was the most corrupted and of the 3 kingdoms, populated by few Dunedain. Rudar also disputed with Cartalin and Arthedain about the Palantiri of Amansul. During the reign of Malvelgil, Angmar grew beyond the Etmors, ruled by the Witch King of Angmar. This land became populated with orcs and hillmen and began attacking Rudar. Years later, Argaleb I of Arthedain reasserted control over Cartalin and fortified the river hills. Rudar was seized by the hillmen that swore an alliance with Angmar. Together they attacked the river hills, but were driven off. Then, in 1409 of the Third Age, the forces of Angmar crossed the river Horwell and attacked Cartalin. This time Weathertop was captured, though the Palantiri was taken to Fornost. The Dunedain of Cartalin held out in the Barrow Downs and the Old Forest. Another great threat came when the Great Plague spread northwards. Cartelin was devastated. The Witch King exploited the tragedy, sent evil spirits to the Barrow Downs. Arthedain was relatively unaffected as the plague lessened as it came north. During the winter of 1974 of the Third Age, the Witch King attacked Fornost, and the remaining Arnorian forces were driven out. Arvedui fled to the ice bay of Forakel and was aided by the snowmen. His son Arnor informed Círdan of his father's whereabouts. Círdan sent an elvish ship to rescue Arvedui. When the ship came, the snowmen of Forakel tried to convince Arvedui not to board the sea monster, as they called it. Arvedui left, and the same night a storm came and sunk Arvedui's ship. He was the last king of Arthedain. Messages were sent to Gondor asking for aid, but Gondor was weakened and couldn't respond immediately. Eärnil, the second of Gondor, sent his son Arnor with a powerful army, and they landed in the Grey Havens. Círdan and Arnor combined their forces and crossed the Lune River, ready to take Fornost back. When the Witch King saw the invading host, he left his defensive position at Fornost and went into an open battle. He would regret this. As the Witch King's army was slaughtered, he and his personal guard attempted to retreat, but they were taken over by Arnor's cavalry. Then Glorfindel and a host of elves attacked and destroyed the remaining forces. Even hobbit archers came to fight, though none survived. The Witch King would flee back to Mordor and take Minas Ithil. Angmar was vanquished, but Arnor was also ended. But its people lived on as rangers in the wild. Aranaf assumed the title of chieftain, as they were too little Dunedain to re-establish the realm of Arthedain. Aranaf sent his son, Arahel, to Rivendell for fostering. Elrond fostered all the chieftains of the Dunedains, and kept heirlooms such as the Ring of Barahir, the Star of Elendil, and the Shards of Narsil. There were 16 chieftains of the Dunedain, with Aragorn Elisar being the last. All the chieftains had the prefix Ara in their names, this meaning noble or royal. The kingdom of Arnor had been fallen for 1,000 years by the time of the War of the Ring. The Rangers of the North were sent south with Elladan and Edrohir to aid their chieftain Aragorn. After the end of the War of the Ring, Gandalf crowned Aragorn as King Elisar. Aragorn reunited and re-established Arnor and Gondor, and he made Annúminas his capital. The kingdoms continued into the Fourth Age, with Eldarion eventually succeeding his father. Arnor, the kingdom of Elendil, quickly fell into ruin, but was re-established in the Fourth Age. The kingdom is sometimes overlooked, but its importance endures.